Time is running out for North Carolina now that the Department of Justice has officially weighed in on the controversial transgender bathroom law. The DOJ issued a letter to North Carolina Governor Pat saying the measure violates federal civil rights protections and cannot be enforced. The letter does not hold the weight of law, but it effectively puts the state on notice. If North Carolina officials plan on enforcing this law, then they run the risk of losing millions of dollars in federal funding. Joining me is constitutional attorney Pate to weigh in on this. What options does North Carolina have?
Well, not a lot of options, and they're running out of time to exercise the clearest one, which is to try to reverse this law. They don't have time to go back to the legislature, even if they wanted to do that, and it's pretty clear they don't want to do that.
Right.
So I think the only way they satisfy the Department of Justice is to make it clear that we're not going to enforce this law and we're not going to implement it until a federal judge can rule on the pending lawsuit that was filed by the ACLU.
The question here is enforcement, though, is it not? I mean, do we know of any cases where this kind of law has been enforced? Has there been any precedents set for that?
No, and I don't know how you would enforce it.
Right.
You're going to stick somebody at the bathroom door to check the gender identity of the person who's going in. I mean, it's crazy. But I don't think the people that supported it and passed it ever really expected it to be enforced or upheld. It was more of a political statement. But now it's become a legal conflict between the state and the feds.
But on the feds' part, I mean, is this an overreach, or why issue this warning?
Well, it is a warning. It's a shot across the bow. If you don't do something now, if you don't make it clear that you're not going to enforce this, then we're going to take you to court. Or what they didn't say expressly in the letter, but what they could do is withhold money, up to about $5 billion in federal aid.
All right, so they're stepping in. You don't think it's an overreach at all?
No, not at all.
On the feds' part. All right, so what do you think will happen if this is, in fact, a law that is challenged in federal court? What happens there?
Well, if it goes to court, I expect the Justice Department will rely on a judge's ruling in that Virginia case where another student challenged the right to use the bathroom that they wanted to use, and the court there found that you've got to give a lot of weight to what the feds say this law means. You've got to defer to their interpretation. So if it's litigated, I expect a judge has to look at that letter and the interpretation that DOJ gives.
And in the interim, I mean, what happens to the law? Is it just sitting there on the books? It's not going to be enforced. It doesn't go into effect in any way, shape, or form at this point.
Well, the only way they've tried to put it into effect is at University of North Carolina. They sent out a memorandum saying, look, this is the law, so this is what we're supposed to follow. But it's just a statement. It's not actual enforcement. So I think everybody will be fine to put this on hold until it can make its way through the courts.
All right, Paige. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you, Brendan.
All right, new tonight, we have